So in this video, I want to talk about conceptually what flux is. So we'll get to electric flux, but first I want to talk about flux. And so also as a side note, I write the variable for flux as sort of like this eye-looking shape with a circle in the center of it. It's phi, right? A capital phi or something like that. And so I just sort of write it like this just for the purpose of being able to quickly write it and so on. So if it's not, if it doesn't look completely accurate, just keep that in mind. This is just how I like to write it. So anyways, so let's talk about flux. So what does flux mean? So there's a lot of equations that we have for flux and so on. For Gauss's law, there's like one for, we come back to it with magnetism. So we talk about flux a lot. So what does flux actually mean? So flux equals flow. It's the flow of field lines. Flow of field lines. So when I'm talking about an amount of flux, so when I say an amount of flux, I'm just talking about a number of field lines. That's all I'm talking about. So if I talk about, if I have some surface here, right, and I'll try to draw something relatively square, right? Maybe this is some sort of 3D thing. And I have, I have these electric field lines coming through here. So they penetrate right there, and then they keep on going through this surface, right? So these are my electric field lines, and they're coming in like this, and they keep on going through. So when we're talking about the flux going through this orange square that has, this area, and it can be a hollow space too as well. It doesn't really matter. It's just some 2D amount of space that's square. Whether there's something there or not doesn't really matter. And we're talking about the flux going through this square. All we're talking about is the number of the electric flux, that is. All we're talking about is the number of electric field lines that are going through it. So that's something to keep in mind. When we talk about flux, flux is actually Latin for flow. So when we say electric flux, we're talking about the number of electric field lines going through whatever it is, whatever surface it is in question. When we're talking about magnetic flux, we're talking about the number of magnetic field lines going through that surface in question. So, or that, area of space that you have some surface, imaginary surface stretched over. So that's all flux is the a number of field lines, the flow of electric field lines.